Anthony Davis didn't play in the back-to-back against the Pelicans and the Houston Rockets. They played against the Pelicans, and we blew the Pelicans out, which was a huge and much-needed win, although every win is a much-needed win at this point. Every win is very viable. Every win is very important, and the Lakers need to continue winning, right? We got the win against the Orlando Magic. Need to keep pushing ahead. We got the Suns coming up. You got the Thunder. You got the Timberwolves right around the corner. The Bulls twice. LeBron James is expected to be back at some point this year, so that's some good news. But you're going to need Anthony Davis to play in the back-to-back towards the end of the season. He has a back-to-back that he needs to play against the Clippers as well as the Utah Jazz. We're going to need both of those games for him to play and for us to win those games, right? That could be the difference between us getting into like the 7th, 8th play-in, maybe even the 6th seed. Might even be us getting into the play-in period, right? The last thing we need is to fall out of the play-in entirely, and now we don't even have a shot. The Lakers right now are sitting at 11th, although it's kind of just, every day it changes. But at some point, the Lakers are going to need to start adding some separation. And if LeBron comes back, say the last 7 games, that might be the time in which they get that separation. But for now, you got to win a game at a time leading into that back-to-back. And Anthony Davis, he needs to play. He needs to stay healthy, needs to play better, and he needs to dominate, right? Defensively, he's still been great, still been a monster, but offensively, he really just hasn't gotten it going the last few games, and we need him to pick that up. But we got reports today, per Marc Stein, that the Lakers are going to have Anthony Davis play those second to back-to-backs, and that Anthony Davis actually had the choice. So we know that Anthony Davis was told by doctors that he can't play back-to-backs. I mean, he hasn't played a back-to-back since November, but according to Marc Stein, Anthony Davis was given a choice. Do you want to play this round of back-to-backs against the Pelicans and the Rockets, or do you want to play against the Jazz and the Clippers? Is that the back-to-back you wanted to play? And apparently Anthony Davis chose the Jazz and the Clippers, which, if that was really the choice and that was really the option, I actually would prefer Anthony Davis play that Clippers and Jazz back-to-back because that's much more significant. In hindsight, it's like, man, the Houston game could come back to bite us in the butt. But in reality, the Houston game was the most likely that we had a chance to win without Anthony Davis, where if we're going against the Jazz and the Clippers, no Anthony Davis, those games just get really tough, even if we have a LeBron James, right? You need Anthony Davis as well. But here's exactly what the report was. Anthony Davis will play in the final Lakers back-to-back of the season. The Lakers medical staff gave Anthony Davis a choice of which of the Lakers' final 2 back-to-backs he wanted to play in both games of, and he chose the final one versus the Jazz and the Clippers. So, again, Marc Stein, I know Davis received some flack for sitting out versus Houston, just with the stakes that the Lakers are in. Again, needing each game they can get in the latter stage of the regular season. But the way it was explained to me, Stein, is just about how powerful the medical staffs of today's NBA, how powerful they are today. I know a lot of players get criticized for load management, sitting out games, and doing all that stuff, but the medical staff has a large part to play in that. Also adds, so the way it was explained to me was that AD had to pick which back-to-back to play in. The back-to-back last week, and then their last back-to-back is April 4th in Utah, and then April 5th against the Clippers. How it was explained to me is that AD will play in that back-to-back, so that would be his first back-to-back since returning from injury. That will be his first back-to-back playing in. Again, hopefully he doesn't suffer an injury before that. Seriously, knock on wood. But if he's healthy, he will play in that back-to-back, which they need that set of games at that part of the season more than their last set of back-to-backs. So again, makes sense. I actually agree with this personally. Like, if that really was the choice, I've talked about it here on this channel that Anthony Davis, if your medical team tells the organization, hey, he can't play, he's not playing. Anthony Davis wanted to play. He relayed that. Darvin Ham relayed that. Everyone said Anthony Davis wanted to play that game, but the medical staff said no. And it's just like if you go to the doctor and your doctor says, hey, if you do this, that could be bad for you, bad for your health, bad for your body, whatever, then you're not going to do that, right? You're going to listen to your doctor because the doctor would know more as a medical professional. A lot of people blame Anthony Davis, but it's not even just the game. Like, people talk about minute restriction. Like, why doesn't Anthony Davis just play like 10 minutes, right? Like, if he's going to play 10 minutes, he might as well play the whole game. He might as well play his regular minutes. I mean, even LeBron James himself has said on numerous occasions, and other guys have reiterated this same sentiment, that like, hey, it's not even so much about playing the game and the minutes that I play. It's about all of the build up, lead up, because it's not like these guys are jumping out of their car, going right from the car to the basketball court, and now they're playing like it's a pickup game. No, they're working the entire day, through training, strength training, drills, warm up, shoot around, all this stuff, and they're building themselves up to get ready for that game, right? Like, you see a lot of these guys, they're already drenched in sweat before they even get to start the game. So it's not just so much like, oh, just the game. It's all of the buildup leading to the game, so that way they're in shape and conditioned and ready to go, and then now they play the game. So it's not just like, oh, hey, why doesn't he just play 10, 15 minutes and we win that game? I put that more on the organization than I do Anthony Davis. You knew Anthony Davis wasn't going to play in these back-to-backs, so why didn't you get a big man? Go get a big man to fill in the void. If we had any big man, just a guy just standing there, like, if I wish I was 7 foot, I would have done it for free, just to stand in the paint and just be like, hey, I'm here. Like, that's all we needed. We didn't need prime Shaq that game. We just needed somebody that could just make it so it wasn't a layup drill and guys weren't just, freely dunking at the rim. That was all we needed. But as far as that Jazz and Clippers games, we should have a full, healthy roster at that point. Again, knock on wood, hopefully everything pans out. But LeBron, he's already on his 3-a-days. He's working out. He's trying to get back to the court. Darvin Ham relayed that he will be back this season. I still think he'll be somewhere around the Bulls game, maybe even Minnesota, which would put us towards the end of this month. Minnesota's on literally the last day of this month, on the 31st. You got one Bulls game on the 26th, one on the 29th. I expect probably that second Bulls game on the 29th. I think the Lakers finish this homestand, get through this homestand. Hopefully they go 4-1 on this homestand. At worst, 3-2. You get this homestand, and then you get ready to go play some games on the road. LeBron comes back, play that other Bulls game, play that Minnesota game. Hopefully you win those two games, and now we're in April, where we have those last 5 stretch of games, which in my opinion are all winnable. I mean, you have like the Rockets, the Jazz twice, you got the Clippers, and you got the Suns, right? Who knows what happens with the Suns, right? They very well, if they're locked in, they could end up just sitting Kevin Durant and maybe Devin Booker. I know some people feel like, why would a team sit and rest guys when they're playing the Lakers? Because they care more about the playoffs than a team that you're going to have to, that you may or may not see in the playoffs. Now, if they can, like, if it comes down to, like, say those last like 2 games, then yeah, maybe, like, right? Like, if the Lakers lose one of their next 2 and that's it, they're out of the play-in entirely, then yeah, I could see the Suns maybe playing their guys. But like, if the Lakers are like in the 7th or 8th, or even if they lose their next 2, they're still in the play-in, I think the Suns are going to sit guys, because they're not going to want to risk an already injured, already injury-prone Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, who has had some injury issues as of late, and then Chris Paul and stuff like that. They don't care. They want to get healthy and get into the playoffs. You're going to have to beat the best teams anyway to get to the NBA Finals. So if you're the Suns, you want guys rested. Even the Clippers. If the Clippers have everything locked up and locked in, and they're locked into that 4 or 5 spot, they might just sit their guys too. We'll see. I'm not saying they will. I'm saying it's a possibility. But hopefully by then, you have a fully healthy roster. You have D'Lo, hopefully Beasley. I expect Beasley to pick it up once LeBron gets back. I don't think it's a coincidence that Beasley's best stretch of games with the Lakers was when LeBron James was playing and you had D'Lo. It just makes things so much easier when you have multiple guys that can set you up and kind of just draw the defender. That really helps, right? But we should have our starting 5. We should have our guys healthy, ready to go, making a push to get into the play-in or the playoffs. I mean, we're 3-0 when this team is fully healthy. So I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility to think that if, let's say, LeBron comes back with 7 games left or 6 games left, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility to go 4-2, right? Or maybe we even go 6-0. I don't think it's that far-fetched when we've already been 3-0 and we played against really good teams in that stretch. I mean, we've beaten even like the Warriors at home, we're literally the last team to beat the Warriors at home. So it's just something to keep in mind. I don't, like, if it really came down to Anthony Davis having to pick between the Rockets game or the Clippers game, I would have wanted him to choose the Clippers game regardless, because that's a game that is much more important because of seeding and guys in front of us, stuff like that. Like, it sucks that we lost to the Rockets. We really could have beaten the Rockets. That would have been nice. But without Anthony Davis, that game gave us the best chance, and we just dropped it as a team. But also, Houston isn't a team that is in front of us that we're trying to catch, that we have to win that game for tiebreaker purposes and all that stuff. No, like, the games that are coming up on the schedule, the Minnesota, the Thunder, I mean, even the Suns game, you can argue a little bit, because they who knows how they go the rest of the way. When Kevin Durant comes back, they could end up having a little bit of a slip. Those games, the Jazz especially, you got 2 Jazz games. Got to win both of those Jazz games, because that should give us enough to get over them to now we are in position to make the play-in or the playoffs or whatever. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? Do you think Anthony Davis made the right decision? How do you feel about the situation? Whatever it is, whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. Let me know down in the comments below.